Hi, it's me, Nick, Lime Green Squid again, with the video response to 10 questions all atheists must answer. Since most of these questions are directed to evolutionary biologists and not just atheists, I will be skipping some of them because I have only a limited knowledge in some of this stuff, and these questions have been better answered by other people. Alera, for one example. Anyway, let's get to it. I'll read all the questions as I was able to paraphrase them, and then skip over the ones that I don't know so much about. Alright, first one, if there is no God, why is there anything at all? Well, that's the big question. Nobody knows that. Anyone claiming to know that is a loon. Frankly speaking, is a loon or is easily guided into believing things without proof, and I'm just not that kind of a person. 2. Where is the evidence that life could have begun without intelligent influence? That's one of those things that I don't have much information on myself. I watched Carl Sagan's Cosmos. There's an experiment in there that pretty much details exactly what goes on. There's something about complex chemicals actually mixing, creating amino acids and RNA, and then developing into DNA and all that stuff. And the process took billions of years, and these are little tiny cells and little tiny molecules, actually, not even cells yet, that just came together and eventually just began to be complex. There's that, how can evolution explain irreducible complexity? Well, there's no such thing as irreducible complexity in evolution. Again, little tiny changes over the courses of the billions of years that life has been evolving pile onto each other. Like, he gave wings as an explanation. How do you explain each stage as being a benefit? Well, there's a lot of stuff that's not a benefit, but it's just there because it doesn't hinder you. Not every evolutionary step has to be a benefit. It's just a mutation, a random mutation. If I randomly mutated a little bit of a wing out of the side of my head, excuse me, or, something simple like that, beyond being unattractive to people, that wouldn't really hinder my ability to eat or find employment, I guess. It might, but that's more socially. That doesn't have anything to do. Like, if we were still wild animals, if I evolved a dark patch of hair on my arm that could in the future grow into protection from some sort of snow, great ice age again or something, that little patch of hair on my arm is not going to benefit me at that time, but it's also not going to hinder me. That's that Alera person described, the person asking the question doesn't really have a grasp of evolution at all. Let's see, how can evolutionary model be true since most major groups appeared at the same time? Something about a Cambrian model. That's another thing that I have no personal experience or information on. That is a question for an evolutionary biologist, not an atheist. If there is no objective standard of right or wrong, how can anything be wrong? Well, that's the thing. There is no objective standard of right and wrong. It's all based on life experience, evolutionary instinct. Like I've explained in other videos, the parent who eats its children is not going to have children to reproduce with that instinct. So they will quickly die off. It's detrimental to the reproduction of the species. So that part of the species will just die off on its own. Whereas the people that are prone not to eat their children, to protect their children, are going to last a little longer than those who eat their children. And that applies to pretty much every other thing. Like, something that will be detrimental to evolution will die off. And traits like that, plus on top of that, now that we are human, we have a larger brain functions, we have consciousness, arguably more than animals do. We can learn from previous people's thoughts because we know writing, we know language. So some things are either ingrained into us because we just feel it's wrong, because it's evolutionary, it's in our instinct to know that killing someone will not help our race. But that's also why there's a lot of mistakes, because not everyone is born the exact same. That's part of evolution. Not everyone is the same. The reason why there's wrong as well as right is because there is no wrong and right. It's because everything is afforded to how we evolve. And if there was a God, there wouldn't be any bad. If there was a God apparently making good, there shouldn't be any such thing as bad. Because if there is bad, that means that God allowed the bad to happen. God created the bad beforehand because he knew it was going to happen. It just, stupidity of the stories doesn't really garner any sort of argument. Let's see, number 6. Matter, what's more true, matter either eternally existed or it came into existence of its own. That's another thing I don't really know. Nobody knows. Anybody who claims to know that, again, is a lunatic, because no one was there at the beginning of the Big Bang or before it. Everything that happened after the Big Bang pretty much can be traced back all to random chance and just, random chance. Everything before the Big Bang, maybe there was a God there to flick it open, but after the Big Bang there's just nothing. There's no no evidence of any divine influence. Let's see, natural selection requires a live reproduction, and you can't be alive without DNA. So what came first, the DNA code or the organism? As far as my limited knowledge of evolutionary biology is, they evolved together. The RNA strands sort of put themselves together and all that. Eventually, I don't have a deep understanding of it. Just take a biochem course in a college and you should be able to work it out yourself. And it's saying something about if a list of prime numbers being transmitted from extraterrestrials is proof of extraterrestrials. Why not accept DNA as a message written by God? Well, again, that's a little bit beyond my knowledge. It's just that I'll just skip on to the next one. It was answered better in another video. What if God was real? Is there a list of reasons that I'd tell him why I didn't believe him? Yes. I would say, well, why didn't you make it more obvious? Why did you rely on people to deliver the message when people are obviously corrupted or corruptible and will lie to their own means? Why not come down and tell us that you exist, having us test ourselves over eternal damnation based on no proof, excuse me, is just absurd. Like, why would a loving God give us a choice without giving us the proper means to get the answers to make a choice? It's just, Christians will argue, well, the answers are all around, but so will evolutionary biologists. The answers are all around for evolution, and there's no room for a God to have done anything. If Christians answered all my questions about Christianity to my satisfaction, would I submit to Jesus and God? Well, if all the questions were answered, if there was proof, if a God came down, if Jesus came down, told me that they existed, and they could prove that they weren't just some sort of trick of lights, and performed actual miracles in front of my eyes, I would believe in them. There'd be no choice. It's just atheistic thinking is the disbelief of stuff that has not been proven. So if something has not been proven, I have no reason to believe in it. If it has been proven, then all right, that can be that's something to believe in. Only really ignorant people would disbelieve evidence just because it counteracts their own beliefs. That's ignorance and blatant stupidity. And it's encouraged ignorance, encouraged stupidity. But that's what faith is. So I guess I'll end it on that note. And I hope you liked my answers or didn't like the answers. It doesn't really matter.